The regular meeting of Clear Lake City Council of Monday, December 20th, 2021 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Mike, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, you have a copy of the minutes of December 6, 2021. We need approval of the bills and claims, of which you also have a copy. And we have the appointment of Councilmember Gary Hughey to the Wellness Center Board for a term ending December 31st of 2023. We have designation of the Clear Lake Mirror Reporter as the official newspaper of the City of Clear Lake for 2022. We have an addendum to 28E agreement with Saragordo County. That's the parking ticket collection agreement. And we have a resolution for F, Resolution 2174, which is a resolution approving enrollment of city administrator in the ICMA Retirement Corporation Deferred Compensation Plan or other similar 457 deferred compensation program. And we have the following license, a liquor license, Class B, wine permit, WB, Simply Nourished, Clear Lake, and that's new. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Let the record show that I abstain with respect to item 3C on the consent agenda.
Will do. Mr. Hughey abstains on letter F of the consent agenda.
No, letter C.
I'm sorry. I said that before the meeting here, too. Letter C. And we'll do a roll call because of the resolution. Mark.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
And Dana.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with the exception of the C. Letter C, and with that, it is 4-0 and 1 abstention. We go to number 4. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern that is not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and in conformance with the council's rules, no action can take place on an item presented during the citizens forum, and you have 3 to 5 minutes.
My name is Becky Wilder, lifetime resident of this town.
Welcome back.
I came up here to ask how one citizen can shut down an alleyway, a public alleyway that has been there for all the years that I've been in this town. Then when I called to ask about it, Jeremy then continues to, maybe a week later, uses our taxpayers' money to go and put a sign at the end of that alley saying that it is a dead end. It's not a dead end. There is a business back there. There are 5 people that have to get into their driveways back in that alley. But yet you guys are allowing this man to shut down an alley. It's unstoppable. It's ridiculous what you're doing. Then the second thing I have is the public approach on 8th Avenue where I'm at. I have asked, and I have asked tremendously many times, why they are allowed to be parking in a public approach. There is an ordinance that says you cannot park in a public approach to our lake. But yet they have continued to park there. The city has allowed them to put a driveway extension down to the public approach. So when they park in there, they are blocking the sidewalk. The only sidewalk we have on South Shore going down that hill. So they are continuously blocking that. I have called, I have asked the police officers, and they have never given them a ticket. And now again, Public Works, Jeremy, went and took the no parking sign down there. So they can now park there? What's wrong with this picture? One more thing I have to say. What has happened to our small town in Clear Lake? Our 8,000 people in this town? Who is looking out for the residents who helped build this town? This town has become one ugly town. For instance, you go up here by Doug Duesenberg's gas station. Why would you allow that kind of fence to be put up? This town has become so ugly, it's so unwelcome to people. You guys are all focusing on out on the highway. And as one of the councilmen said, we are fortunate to have $25 million of private investments. Why aren't they investing in our town? Why aren't you investing downtown? We have no senior citizen center. We have no youth center. We have nothing here to shop local but a bar, a distillery, one clothing store. Now this is getting ridiculous. We do not need a high V out on the highway. That's just going to take away from our little town grocery store here. This is outrageous. The corruption that is going on in this town. I came up here to talk about all the stuff that happened. That was on a Monday. On that following Friday, I get a police officer at my home telling me, charging me with trespassing that I have dealt with for 4 years through you guys, and nothing's been done. I'm done being gaslighted, and I'm done with the bullshit in this town. It needs to
We
stop.
do not need any profanity, thank you.
It needs to stop.
You may take your seat. We appreciate your being here. Thank you. Move on to unfinished business. Golf cart ordinance amendment. Motion to approve ordinance number 866, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa, 2003, operation of golf carts on the city street, and this is the third and final reading. Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Mike, that we approve the golf cart ordinance amendment on the third and final reading. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And Mark?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Ordinance number 866 is duly adopted. Now on the third and final reading. B, off-road utility vehicle ordinance amendment. Motion to approve ordinance number 867. This is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa, 2003. Operation of off-road utility vehicles. And this is the second of 3 readings. Entertain a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark, that we approve ordinance number 867 on the second reading. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and that's approved on the second of 3 readings. And now I'll entertain a motion pursuant to Iowa Code Section 380.3 to place ordinance number 867 this evening on the third and final reading. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Gary, that we approve ordinance number 867 this evening on the third and final reading. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now, to the third and final reading. Ordinance number 867, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa, 2003, operation of off-road utility vehicles, and this is the third and final reading. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark, that we approve ordinance number 867 on the third and final reading. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Mark? Mike?
Yes.
And Gary?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 867 is duly adopted on the third and final reading. To number 6, new business, 6A, Consolidated Urban Renewal Area Expansion and Plan Amendment, 2022-01. Review, Mr. Flory. Welcome,
Thank
Scott.
you, Mayor, Council. The pink sheets in your packet are the first items addressing this. The first pink sheet's a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on the designation of the expanded Clear Lake Consolidated Urban Renewal Area on the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment. Also in that resolution is a referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for review and recommendation on the plan amendment and expanded districts. So that will take place, that's pursuant to section 403.5 of the code. That will take place at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on the 28th of this month. And then the next sheet is the notice of the public hearing. That will be published in the Clear Lake Mirror Reporter on the 22nd. The last sheet, the big 11 by 17 sheet, is a depiction of the urban renewal areas that we have, and I'll just call attention to the area that is in yellow. You'll see expanded 2022. That includes the area that's the former Woodford Wheeler property location, as well as the Clear Lake Public Library. So we'll be expanding that into the Clear Lake Consolidated Downtown Urban Renewal Area. And then just a little bit over there to the right, you'll see the orange colored area, the Clear Lake Consolidated Industrial Expansion Area. That would be a little expansion area off just north of 2nd Avenue North, west of South 15th Street there, and that would be the area of the former County Secondary Road Department buildings that will redevelop into the South 15th Street Park. So just in terms of some background on this, the process is, again, you've been through this a few times before, involves amending the urban renewal plan to expand the districts as well as incorporate a planned amendment. So we'll have additional property being added, as I mentioned, to incorporate the South 15th Street redevelopment project as well as the Woodford Wheeler redevelopment project. As I mentioned, you'll set the date for the public hearing tonight. The public hearing will be January 3rd, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And as I mentioned, the notice of the hearing will be published in the newspaper this Wednesday. And also pursuant to the resolution, then we refer that to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for its regular meeting on the 28th for review and recommendation. So I don't have anything further in terms of any background on that unless anybody has any questions. Just one of the initial steps to proceeding with two, again, classic urban renewal projects where you have the blighted properties there, the county maintenance sheds, secondary maintenance buildings there on South 15th Street, and then the Woodford property there. So,
Council, any questions for Scott? Thank you. Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2175, a resolution setting the date for a public hearing, which shall be January 3rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers on designation of the expanded Clear Lake Consolidated Urban Renewal Area and on Urban Renewal Plan Amendment. Motion, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Gary, that we approve Resolution 2175. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
And Bennett.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2175 is duly adopted. 6B, 600 block Buddy Holly Place, excuse me, alley reconstruction project. Project update and review of pay estimate number 1 by Jason Petersburg, B&K. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. In your packets, you'll find a resolution accepting work on the 600 block Buddy Holly Place alley reconstruction project. Pay estimate number 1, which is the final pay estimate for the project, as well as the certificate of completion. All work on the alley reconstruction has been completed. Complete Concrete out of Clear Lake was the contractor on that. Project went really well, really quickly. The pay estimate in your packets, like I said, is the final pay estimate. Total value of work completed is $69,178, which is just a couple $100 less than the original contract amount. If you subtract the 5% retainage, the net amount due to Complete Concrete with this pay estimate is $65,719.10. We do recommend approval of pay estimate 1, as well as the approval of the resolution accepting work. And we'll note that originally this project was bid with 2 alleys. We rebid it with just this 1 alley at Buddy Holly, and the plan is to bid the other alley downtown here this winter and get that built right away in the spring. Any questions?
Council, any questions for Jason?
Yes, Mayor. Jason, thank you. I drove by there the other day. The project looks terrific. Do you anticipate that it's going to solve really the water drainage issues we had down there for those folks that have businesses along there? And I know that's what we were trying to improve. And
The drainage has been improved. Whether or not it'll prevent that sidewalk from heaving, we'll see this winter. When we bid the project, there's no guarantee, but it'll help. And
Yeah.
the alley needed reconstructed and the drainage corrected regardless. So.
sure, yeah. Well, I want to thank you because, again, I think it looks terrific and a significant improvement from what was there. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Any other questions for Jason? Thank you, Jason. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1 to Complete Concrete, Clear Lake, Iowa, in the amount of $65,719.10.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark, that we approve pay estimate number 1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2176, a resolution accepting the work with regard to 600 block Buddy Holly Place alley reconstruction. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mark, that we approve Resolution 2176. Is there any discussion? Mark? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Dana?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and Resolution 2176 is duly adopted. 6C, Whitaker's Court Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project, project update and review of pay estimate number 1. This is semi-final payment. Mr. Petersburg again.
Pay estimate 1 in your packets is the semi-final pay estimate for McInnes Excavating for this project. Final quantities, however, it's not the final pay estimate. That'll be acted on in January. Work on the project is substantially complete. The project included approximately 240 feet of new 8-inch sanitary sewer main, 2 new manholes, and 11 new sewer services to replace the aged private sewer main. Total value of work completed is $56,471.20. It's approximately $3,000 less than the original contract amount. The majority of that $3,000 reduction is from reduced quantity of sewer service pipe. Some of the services were found to already be PVC, so they were not replaced all the way to the homes. Subtract the 5% retainage, and the net amount due to McInnes Excavating is $53,647.64. V&K recommends approval of this pay estimate. And then, like I mentioned, we plan to prepare the final pay estimate and the final assessments, since the sewer services and much of the sewer main was specially assessed to the property owners there, and that'll be acted on in January. So, any questions?
Any questions for Jason on Whitaker Court? Thanks, Jason. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1 with regard to the Whitaker Court Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project to McInnes Excavating, Mason City, Iowa, in the amount of $53,647.64.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mike, that we approve pay estimate number 1 on the Whitaker Court project. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. 6D, 2021, Storm, Sewer, and Water Main Improvement Project, project update, review of pay estimate number 2. Jason again.
So as you may recall, this project was broke up into 4 areas throughout the community. 11th Court, 8th Avenue South was the first area, North 16th Street, North 12th Street, and North 20th Street, all 3 of those just immediately north of Main Avenue. This excavation has completed the water main and storm sewer work on 11th Court, 8th Avenue South, and they have completed the majority of the street, driveway, and sidewalk restoration down there. They then moved up to North 16th Street. They have the water main work there completed, and they have about 1 day of storm sewer work remaining to be in that area, and then they'll wrap up the pipe in that area. They are going to have to use some temporary aggregate surfacing on North 16th Street through the winter, and the permanent pavement restoration will take place in the spring. So there's still 2 areas included in the project to be completed, North 12th Street, North 20th Street, depending on weather. They may try and proceed with one of those in January, see how cold it gets here. Otherwise, they'll be waiting until spring to move forward with the rest of the project. Pay estimate 2 covers work completed in November. Net amount due to this excavation is $119,814.47. V&K recommends approval of pay estimate number 2. Any questions on this one?
Council, any questions? This project. Thank you, Jason. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 2 on the 2021 Storm, Sewer, and Water Main Improvement Project to NIS Excavating, Mason City, Iowa, in the amount of $119,814.47.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Dana, that we approve pay estimate number 2. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. 6E, Emerald Edge Subdivision, disposal of city's interest in certain real property. Review, Mr. Flory.
Mayor, Council, the purple sheets at the end of the packet address this item. It's a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on a proposal to sell real property belonging to the city of Clear Lake. If you recall, we talked about this at the previous council meeting, but back at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on October 26th, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the preliminary plat for Emerald Edge subdivision, 64-acre development that was broken down into 7 buildable lots and then 1 larger outlot that would be subdivided at a later time. Property also includes land that's 18-foot wide strip that's owned by the city, and part of the request from the developer for that platting was that the city dispose of its interest in that 18-foot wide strip for future subdivision purposes. Subdivision, of course, is located along Highway 18 between North 14th Street and North 20th Street. Includes new underground infrastructure, paving, water main, sanitary sewer, main, storm sewer work, etc. Property is currently used for agricultural purposes and is zoned intensive commercial, CI1. The new Hy-Vee grocery store and convenience mart is being built on the 6.5-acre lot that is lot number 1 in the subdivision. As I mentioned at your last council meeting, council approved a development agreement with Sukup Ag that indicated the city's willingness to provide various incentives related to the subdivision. And in that agreement, again, it indicated our willingness to take the additional steps required under the Code of Iowa to dispose of our interest in that 18-foot wide parcel that's really in the middle of the development there. So the proposed price would be $5,000. The resolution in your packet sets the date for the public hearing to be held on January 3rd, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers, and then we'll also publish notice of the hearing in the newspaper on December 22nd. So. And I don't have anything further in terms of any background or anything further from the last council meeting. I think Gary had brought up asking kind of how we had ever come by that parcel. Just as I said before, just kind of a red herring. Probably had it for many decades, and at some point it was probably thought of to be used for some kind of a public purpose, but that does not exist today. So So at this point, it's just simply kind of, again, a red herring on economic remnant that's kind of stuck out in the middle of somebody else's property.
Any questions for Scott, council? Thank you. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2177, a resolution setting a public hearing, which shall be January 3rd of 2022, on the proposal to sell real property belonging to the city of Clear Lake. Motion, please.
So offered. Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Dana, that we approve Resolution 2177. Is there any discussion? Gary?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2177 is duly adopted. Chief's not here tonight. Captain, welcome.
Good evening. Got three things over the last 2 weeks for you. We have an opening at the PDs. We have that posted statewide and then also on Indeed.com. So we have a national search going on for an open position. If you recall, we thought we had a conditional offer out, but through the pre-employment screening, we were able to rescind that offer. And so we do have an opening. We do have a spot reserved at the academy coming up in April. So if we do have a non-certified, we'll have a spot reserved for us for that spot. Hopefully we'll have a certified officer apply and can go through that, save some money and time for the city. 2 weeks ago, we had a shop with the cop. We had officers from almost every shift and dispatchers up at Larson's, and we had students from Garner, Hayfield, Ventura, and also the Clear Lake School District, where we were able to go up and do some Christmas shopping with the kids there. The kids were able to pick out a gift for themselves, a gift for a family member, and something they need that they wouldn't normally be able to purchase. So that was a good a relationship community building effort with us and the kids in those schools. Then the big thing we had to talk about was the December derecho that we had last Wednesday night. We had several officers come in, extra dispatchers to cover the increase in call volume. We responded to 113 phone calls on Wednesday night, just in that period that storm came through in our dispatch center, with 48 calls for service coming in. The biggest block of those was trees down and storm damage too. So Public Works was out with us, I think, almost all night, opening roads up, removing trees and branches down. And we just opened our last road up this afternoon. I think 27th Ave South got opened up around lunchtime today too. So it's been a long, extended period of time that we've had some closures from that storm. But luckily we had no injuries, and I think we're back on an even keel from it. Any questions on any of those topics at all or anything?
Council, any questions for Captain? Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works report. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just one quick update on the RCP investments, warehouse improvement there. They've been working on the storm sewer. They had a day last week where pretty much held them up a full day. They had to lower a sanitary sewer service to that, I think it's the building to the east of Ryko there. It was right about dead center of the storm sewer, so they had to go underneath that. Kind of held them up for a day, but talking to them today, they sound like they should get to the Magellan property by the end of the week. Pretty much give them a real good shot here to completion. So the other update would be to follow up on Captain's storm cleanup. Yeah, we had guys called in about time power went out to man our lift stations, generators, etc. I think we had 3 guys in till about 2 in the morning, clearing roads, clearing some trees. I think we got our final road cleared up on Saturday or Sunday when Alliant was finally get one of their last power lines cleared from a tree. And then we do, if you notice uptown, we'll be slowly fixing. We had about 12 to 15 of our decorative lights just are out, and it's just from the wind vibrating them until they break. Couple traffic lights to repair, so just a lot of odds and ends. We did have one decorative light fall over, so just a bunch of little things here and there, and hopefully we'll be able to get most of it all wrapped up by the end of this week. So any questions?
We were lucky on that one. That South 27th seemed to get hit the worst and then cut across through.
Yeah, there was a pretty good line, it looked like, from South 27th all the way, like through Truck Specialties out there. They had 3 sheds lift up over a fence that we actually went out and helped the DOT and the county clear a shed from Highway 18. That's not really our jurisdiction out there, but they didn't have anybody in the area, so we got it shoved off into the median just to clear the road for them. But yeah, it was that initial surge. There wasn't a lot of damage, but once we got all that cleaned up from about 8 till midnight, those steady winds is what really caused a lot of the damage. So most of it was just running around barricades, stop signs, move a tree out of the way. I mean, so no, the guys did good. And yeah, like I said, we kind of had knowing it was coming, we were actually able to get prepared with some of our generators and have all that stuff out and ready. So nothing we weren't going to handle.
And what, Rich and John hung on there till about 2 a.m. or so?
Yeah,
or
well,
all
considering
night?
they live in Fertile, they didn't want to go home, so they just hung out in the shop and
Yeah.
got a few hours sleep at the end of the night. And got called back in at 6 for another tree down. So, but yeah, so no, they did good.
Those lines hanging over the interstate were a little scary, weren't they?
Yeah, I guess they had a line had to prop up a couple poles just so they had clearance on the interstate. I think the semis were clearing them by about 3 feet or something like that. So we helped out a line by closing off the road, giving them some extra barricades around their trucks that they had propped up out there. I think he said they got it cleared off today, so we'll have to go out there and get our barricades back.
Imagine if
Yeah.
one of those
I
semis,
think they had crews out there Saturday and Sunday trying to finish that up. So
if they'd cut those lines, that'd have been
probably for a while.
disaster,
So.
yeah.
Yep.
You're lucky. Any questions for Jeremy? Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy. Our mayor's report. Stacy, do you have any? Welcome.
Hey, everyone. We had our December quarterly coffee on Friday, and it's a great opportunity for the business community to get together and celebrate some of the victories for the year. And Nelson gave about a 45-minute thank you tour, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but I just wanted to share a couple of highlights from Friday's meeting. First of all, Iowa State University released some research that they have done regarding lake travel in the state of Iowa, and Clear Lake was named the #1 single day trip lake destination in Iowa. They estimate 500,000 single day trips, resulting in over $80 million in revenue for our community. So that was a big win for Clear Lake. We also talked about, Main Avenue being completely full for the first time and as long as I can remember. We added Skips Kicks, True North Nutrition, Chris's Kettle Corn, Cancun by the Lake, White Barn Picket Fence, Dash and Ivy, and Charlie's Soda Fountain just this year. And last year, the Euro Place Basic Burger in Bryn and Lou. So very exciting to have our entire Main Avenue full for the first time in as long as I can remember. So I'd like to invite you guys to our tourism launch party on January 13th at Tapped at 4:30. And then our annual meeting is January 25th. Questions?
That was well attended.
There are probably over 75.
I don't think I've seen that many before.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Very well done.
So a very positive meeting, very positive for our community regarding all the things going on. So thank you very much.
Questions?
I was just going to say thanks for all your work on downtown because, like you say, it's really active and full, and it's nice to see.
Chad, welcome. North Iowa Corridor.
Thanks, Mayor, Council, appreciate it. Yeah, I think that was the first time both of us talked longer than Doug G on that thing. So. I don't know how that happened.
They won't invite us back.
They keep bringing Doug back. He must have got the memo. But no, appreciate it. And that was a great meeting again. We actually had our quarterly investor forum here 2 weeks ago over at the Lakeview Room and had awesome turnout for that as well. We never get as big as the chamber, but we're not that cool. So, but it has been really cool to see people coming out and supporting a lot of the action that's happening. And the businesses, I think, by and large, are very happy with what's happening in our communities, and we continue to see that. A couple things that we're working on right now, I think we touched a little bit a couple weeks ago. Iowa Powdercraft is working with us. They're doing some expansion here in town and over to the former Rocca site in the coming months. So that's kind of exciting to see a local company that's growing and on the upswing. Five Star Co-op over in Ventura, they're growing into a 17-acre site and have an $8 million project underway. That's very cool to see for the area, and positive things happening with that, with future growth and expansion plans ongoing for those guys. We've touched on several things with what's going on with Pritchard's and the 70 employees they've brought to the former Team Quest building, and plans for up to 50 more in the next 3 to 5 years as they continue to expand their electric vehicle charging efforts, as well as just software and development on that side of things. So a lot of really cool things in the tech space that we're trying to drive our community towards, and really cool to be teaming up with those guys. Actually got them connected today with Alliant to start having further discussions on all of that and the types of incentives and programs that can help with that process. I think that's going to be a big deal for us as we continue to try to be that hub between Minneapolis and Des Moines. And that's really something that'll pull people off the interstate. So excited to see how that goes. Continue to have really cool opportunities. We've mentioned the biofuels industry and the 3 projects we've been continuing to work with in that sector. Continue to have weekly meetings and dialogue with each of those and continued progress. So excited to see where those go over the next year. A lot of work to do on each of those, but really positive development so far. And then we continue on the housing side. We're still in the process of establishing the 501c3 nonprofit Housing Development Corporation. Don't know if we'll get that done before the end of the year. The attorneys all seem to have a lot going on right now. So we're trying to get that as far along as we can, as fast as we can, though, so we can continue to move forward. We've had great conversations with Scott and the team on some potential developments in Clear Lake as far as subdivisions go, and potential for some multifamily, as we know that we have a need for the workforce apartments, and that's something that we'll continue to push forward. I had a really positive meeting with a landowner, potential developer in the community here a couple weeks ago along Highway 18 as well. You know, if you remember Les Nelson Investments, his grandson Drew is a friend of mine, and he's taken over some of those things moving forward, and might have some really cool opportunities with those guys. So looking forward to that. We continue to see some really good things with Vision North Iowa. We've got the State of North Iowa event coming up January 13th at 8 o'clock over here. We get to highlight the new hotel and conference center, so really excited about that. It is confirmed it will be in there. So I think they had their first group in there.
Fire department.
The fire department recently, so that's really neat to see that kicking off and getting moving, and looking forward to getting in there and showing it off to community members and leaders. So. But we have Ron Cox from Iowa State Cirrus. Has come to speak kind of on the workforce topic and continue to help drive home ideas for our businesses on how to deal with that situation. And then, of course, an update from the Vision North Iowa partners on things that we're doing, especially on the workforce marketing side that'll be rolling out really with that meeting as we continue to try to target people and recruit. Finally, kind of on the workforce side, last week, Hunter Callahan led up our efforts at the Clear Lake High School with mock interviews. We had, I forget how many she said, I think upwards of 30 business folks that helped participate in that and get connected with our students. And just a really cool way to get them engaged in our schools and our students engaged with their businesses to get an idea of what it takes and what businesses are looking for, but hopefully to get some understanding of the types of businesses and opportunities that we've got here. And then we get to move into the legislative session. I won't bore you with all of that, but there is a lot coming up this session, as always, and we'll be at the table working through that. One of the cool things that Stacy helped us get set up with the Vision North Iowa partners that the mayor, Scott, participated in last week was a look at Renewal Studios over at Kingland. That is a really, really cool asset, and they've got some cool opportunities in the media and TV and movie and film industry. It's something that you do not see in communities like ours. I mean, that is such a unique asset. So cool of Kingland to bring that here and to team up with those guys. There's some really big opportunities that could come out of that for our area. So good way to get us on the map and some neat things in the works over there. And I brought that up because legislatively, as you guys probably remember, years ago there was a little bit of a scandal on the film tax credits that were out there, maybe a big one, and that obviously soured people on that industry here, and our hope would be that we can work with those guys and our legislators to maybe improve some of those things, find some good ways to help that, because the states that are doing that are reaping pretty big rewards right now. That's all I got.
Is the legislature really, cognizant of all this, or?
They haven't, you know, they haven't been dealing with it too directly recently. And honestly, the state just hasn't had a lot of demand for it. Now that we've got a group like this that's really aggressive about it and wants to move forward and has some real legitimate plans and investment coming at them, I think that's something that they'll be a lot more receptive to. It's kind of unfortunate timing that we don't still have Linda down there, but I think that our local folks, we can work with those guys and do our best to push on that. And I think that's something Debbie Durham at IEDA and, you know, that she'll be willing to listen and help us out with. Hopefully, you know, we know that there's still some negative perceptions from what happened in the past, but I think that can be managed.
That whole area over there that Dave's got is just unbelievable, and the possibilities are limitless, really, in that particular area.
It's an incredibly cool facility.
It really is. Yeah. Any other comments, questions for Chad?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chad. Just a couple of things. You know, if you look back at 2021 and compare it to 2020, you know, all of us sitting up here in 2021 or 2020 a year ago, we had nothing to talk about because we had canceled everything throughout that whole year. And, you know, Stacy was canceling things down there. We were canceling things up here to the dismay of a lot of people. But that, you know, COVID was running rampant there now, not to say that it isn't at the present time, but fortunately we are still able to do some things. And, you know, we are very, very grateful for the council or the chamber and their activities that they were able to hold, and all of us up here. It's been really a good year for the city as a whole, as we rebuilt really from 2020 to what we've seen this year. So I in particular, and I'm sure the rest of you, we're very, very, very thankful for all of our partners that we have worked with this year. Partners, some of them are non-tax partners and have done very, very well. And we're very, very thankful for them. And as we finish up kind of our shopping for Christmas, you know, let's make sure that we certainly support the merchants. As Stacy said, Main Street's full, then let's go down and support them as well. That's our key. So thank you, Clear Lake citizens, for your support this past year. Mr. Flory?
Just one thing, Mayor, I'd like to, council's approval, set workshop for Thursday, the 23rd at 8:30 a.m. I've got kind of a number of topics that I'd like to go over with the council. Just a couple of those are, Jason's going to give a report. If you recall from a previous meeting, it indicated that we had retained an arborist to look at some of the trees there on the next segment of Main Avenue, the reconstruction project. So I'd like to go over the findings and conclusions, recommendations from that report with you all. As well as some ARP issues relative to the funding that we have from the federal government for improvements that we'd like to make at the water treatment plant, to use some of those dollars there. Another item is establishing kind of a budget, if you will, for the South 15th Street redevelopment project. A few meetings ago, we had a workshop, and Gary had brought up on Highway 18 corridor speed study, so I'd like to bring you up to speed on some of the conversations I've had with the DOT on that topic. Comprehensive plan, you know, we're going to be collaborating with Mason City and the county on a broad comprehensive plan, so I'd kind of like to fill you in a little bit on some of that, as well as some improvements that security-wise we'd like to make, working with one of the architects on the administrative side of City Hall here. So it'd be a fairly full agenda for the workshop, but I think we can get through it in about an hour or so.
Council, any questions for Scott? Thank you. Scott Any other business, council? Merry Christmas, everybody. Meeting adjourned.
If prepared, you're going to get down tonight.